All right, we are live once more. Just waiting for Amazon to catch up here. And we will go live on Amazon. So there we go. So I figured I'll wait a minute or two for people to come in. And then we'll get to work. We've got some work to do. Got to test this thing out here. And that is what we're going to be doing today. It looks like my notification just went out on the Amazon side, so that's good. It looks like we've got 6 people popping into the chat as we speak. And what I've got hooked up right now is, I should probably add this to the Amazon thing. This is a external hard drive with my Steam games on there. And we've got some folks shuffling in. I'll say hello to some people, and then we'll get back to work here. So we have Michael Kidd has joined us. NC Strev is here from Maine. Yas7 is here. Cedar Lake is here. Vanja MNE from Montenegro. Awesome. Romeric is here once again. Paul Bakewell. We have our international crew popping in. And yeah, so today, last time we unboxed this, and I just set it up. So we're going to run some benchmarks on it and get the ball rolling there. So I do have it booted up, and we are currently looking at the 3D Mark Time Spy test, which I haven't actually run yet. I did do the stress test on this. I don't know if it retained my results, but I've been getting, so I was getting mixed results on this. And I'm going to have to run this again later. This test takes a while, so I'm going to probably run it again tonight. I'm going to update it. I did update the drivers and stuff, but I was surprised that we got that score, because usually, you want to get, you would expect on a desktop machine to do a little better than that. It's not all that noisy though, so I wonder if this is one of those things where they balance the fan noise versus other stuff. I don't know. We'll have to, that's what happens. Like when I see a result, it doesn't look right, I go back and I keep digging around to see what the problem is. Because the first time I ran this, I got like 74%, and now it's 90.6. So, you know what I mean? So it's something was wacky on that. And I was checking too to make sure that there wasn't some thing running in the background, like an updater. And it looks like it's okay. So I'm not sure what was going on there. We'll have to dig around at that. So we have some more folks popping in, our usual crew. And if you're on Amazon, say hello. And if you're on Amazon or not on Amazon, follow me on Amazon. It'd be great to hear from you. So William Wilkinson is here. Redacted is here once again. I think I created your name, didn't I? AV Motion is here from the Netherlands. Andy G is here. Phil Chung is here. Yasin Eris is here. Another one from the Netherlands, Jeroen Matthias, I believe I got in there. I do need to test the IR port, Redacted. I got to find something to test it with. And Anthony Biacco is here. Yo to you. So yeah, let's get some tests going on here. So we're going to jump over to the Time Spy test, and then we'll run a couple games on this thing and see how it does. So this is a DirectX 12 benchmark, and we used to only run this on machines that had a discrete GPU. But with these new, these new Ryzen chips, you can run it on just the internal graphics. Over on Amazon, we have Siva, also from Connecticut. Hello. Where in Connecticut are you, Siva? You can generalize. Sam Morales is here as well. Hello. And MJ Drama from Finland. Matt Dixon is here. And confirmation that I created, yeah, Redacted gave me a super chat and I couldn't say his name on air. It was a family channel, so I redacted it. And now that's his name. Le Gamer Infinity is here as well. Welcome. David's Devices is here from Florida on the Amazon chat. And we also have, Silva's from Hartford. Excellent. Not far from me. I visit Hartford regularly. Well, I used to visit Hartford regularly when I left the house. Go to the Wolfpack games. I used to go to the Whalers when I was a kid. And by the way, this will appear slow because this is a really heavy-duty benchmark. Hit the wrong button there. This is a really heavy-duty benchmark, so I don't expect it to run very well at all, at least from a frame rate perspective. But what matters the most is the numbers that we get when it's completed. So we just got to let this thing run its course. So what it does first is it runs a demo. And it runs the demo because you want to get like the processor warmed up. You know, you want to have a kind of a consistent starting point. So if there's any heat issues related to thermal throttling or something along those lines, the demo will basically get the test started from a point in which the processor is already warmed up. So that's kind of where you want to go with it. There's definitely fan noise, but it's pretty quiet for a small machine. So that's not bad. Now the specs on this one, this is the Ryzen 8, the Ryzen, let me get you the exact one. The Ryzen 7 4800U. This has, I think, 8 gigs of RAM, 8 or 16, maybe it's got 16 gigs. And it's the higher end of this line. It starts at around $460, give or take, for the bare bones kit, and that's with the 4500U. So I think the graphics are the same between the 4500 and the 4800, but the 4800 has more cores. I think this is an 8-core chip, which is pretty awesome to have on one of these things. And again, don't expect like super high frame rates on this benchmark. We're just looking for what the number is going to be when it's done. So now it's done with the demo, and then following the demo, it will go and actually run the benchmark part, and that's what it's doing right now. And so there's a series of tests that it runs, and then when it's done, it gives you a number, in case you've never run one of these before. This is a 3D Mark Time Spy, and I like the 3D Mark set because it's easy to install, it's consistent in delivering good results. And we've been running it for so long, we can compare computers over a number of years to see the progress of chips. Got some more folks popping in. I'll say hello to everybody here. We have Keith McDermott. We have Mark H. Gormand is here from Scotland. Recipe Bob is here. What's up with you? Andy G wants me to test GeForce now. I'll definitely do that in the review for sure. I don't expect it to be a problem. I think it's going to be really good at game streaming. In fact, this is like, if you're looking for a game streaming computer, I would get something less expensive, because you could, as we saw, we were running game streaming on little $200 Gemini Lake machines, because they're just kind of streaming video, So I think it'll do fine, but I will test that in the full review. Dave Dumond is here from Rochester. Jeremy Lim is here from the UK. Eric, I did mention that in case you just missed it. It's a Ryzen 4800U is what we've got there. I did answer your question, Andy. Anthony says 4K 120 hertz test to my TV over. Yes, I need to try that. I do not have a 120 hertz TV, but I do have a 144 hertz monitor I can attach it to. So I will make a note to see if it supports that. I think it will. Just know that you're not going to find, obviously you all know this, you're not going to find a game that will run at that frame rate, but it is definitely doable. And normally this is the stuff that Jake does for me, but Jake is on a family trip right now, and he's not in state, so I am doing all of this stuff this week. So these are the tests that Jake usually runs. And I will see if it supports 120, 144 hertz, and I'll also check and see if how the game streaming works on it. We'll definitely look into that. And if we have time, I've got about an hour. If we have time, I'll also boot Linux up on it, and I expect Linux to work fine on this. All right, so it's running through its benchmarks now. And again, a frame rate of 6 or 7 frames per second is not a concern. That's par for the course, as they say. Mansoor wants to know, does it have the option to start up automatically when plugged in? I will check on that. I think there's probably a setting in the BIOS for that. Is there a dual channel RAM in it? Yes, absolutely. That's critical for these machines, is having dual channel RAM. And this one was pre-configured from Asus, and it did have 2 sticks of 8 in there, I believe. Anthony Albee is here. Steve Roach is here. Live long and prosper to you. I think that's that's a Vulcan thing. The Node is here. Howdy to you. Redacted wants to know, what's the IR port for? I think it's probably for using remote controls. Like IR has been part of Windows for a long time, so I don't know if it has CEC support natively, but I would imagine you could probably put some software in there to push CEC out over the HDMI. Gorman says the GPU from Ryzen 2 APUs are also different. They get faster and have more cores the higher you go. Yeah, we'll see. You know, what's good about running this test is that I have test results from a lot of these 4000 series Ryzens now. So when this test is completed, which I think it's almost done with, yep, there we go. I can compare it to stuff. Now, if you want, head over to Lon.TV/benchmarks, and you can see the test results that I have put together for systems like this one. And bear with me for a minute, and I'm just going to close out some windows here on my Mac and get that going. Give me 1 second here just to clean some things out, and then we'll enter in the data that we just collected. I got more tacos coming tonight. Tonight is Taco Tuesday at my house. I think I told you about the taco place I've got around the corner from me. So they deliver. And what's great about it, you can like schedule the delivery. So I ordered at 3. It'll be here at like 5:45. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay. So give me a second here, folks. Lon.TV/benchmarks. You can see the screen that I'm about to show all of you. Let me just get my screen mirroring going here. And we'll mirror built-in Retina. And close that window. Okay. Close this thing out. Oh my gosh, I got so many things open. By the way, this Mac is so awesome. This is my MacBook Air that I'm configuring at the moment. It is so fast. Okay. Close out my news site there. So let's go over to the 3D Mark Time Spy test. Again, Lon.TV/benchmarks is what I'm looking at here. All right, so we got a score of 1144. And that puts it right. Now, a lot of these are laptops. So this is 1144. We got a frame rate, and I'll switch back to the other screen here so you can see what that is. Let me scroll down a bit here. So we got a frame rate on graphics test 1 of 6.77 FPS. And we got 5.63 FPS on the second test. And the CPU came in at 16.91 FPS. Now, the question is, where does this one stack up against other Ryzen chips that are similar? So a good comparative here would be these two. And I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see it better. So the Lenovo IdeaPad Flex 5 and the NV X360, these perform really well for what they have inside. And as you can see here, we got a score of 989 on those two. So we got an extra frame per second out of most of these tests here. And so here's what we just looked at now. And I'll just kind of highlight all the comparatives here versus that one. Oh, I'm sorry, you weren't even looking at it. There we go. So that is the comparative. Now, I believe I had a Ryzen 4800 that I looked at prior. I think it was an Acer. Maybe not. I'll do a search for it real quick. But that's good. I mean, that's a good score. Now, you'll see here that that's better. So if you look at the graphics scores here, this one is right on par with a 1165 G7, which is the Intel, the prior, actually no, I take that back. It is right in line with the new generation Intel, was it the Ice Lake, I think that's what this one is. So not bad. But check it out. So the Acer I was thinking of had a 4700U. And that one did, oh, yeah, marginally better. Actually, I think I need to go up a little bit on this one. You know, my stuff is out of order here. This one needs to be up a little bit higher. I have to just order this by, I manually order this, and it's gotten out of whack here. So there you go. So it's right in line with where I would expect it to be. And that's the Acer we looked at recently, the Swift 3. That's a hot little laptop, by the way. So there you go. So not bad on the benchmark. It is performing kind of as I would hope it would perform. Andy G wants to see the ports. Right now it's all plugged in, but I do have a unboxing video on the Amazon listing, and I have it on the extras channel. So if you go to one of those two places, you can see the whole thing. I actually took it apart on that video also. Standard array of ports, no Thunderbolt. It does have 2 USB Type-Cs on it. On the front here, we've got, I just can't move, oops, shoot, I just turned it off. This power switch, by the way, this is the second time I've done this. It's like it's so easy to push it. It's very, like, you see that, how quickly that turned off? So, well, now that it's off, I'll show you the rest of the ports. So that's what you got on the back. Now, what's neat is that this can support 4 displays. So it's got a display port here at the bottom. You got HDMI here. You got a USB Type-C. And there was another display output somewhere. It's 1, 2, 3. And I think maybe the 4th one is the front USB port. So I'm pretty sure they said it supports 4 displays. So it's pretty versatile in that way. But that power switch, I keep hitting it all the time. Roberto Walter is here. Hello, how are you? Yeah, we're going to load up some games here real quick and see how it does with those. We're going to connect my Xbox controller right here to it, and we'll just connect wirelessly just to make it work. Mark H said, I thought, you know, we've been having a lot of tacos here at the house. They're easy to make. So Friday we made tacos. Today we're bringing tacos in. So that's the plan. And it's kind of neat because this place does a lot of different types of food. So my daughter wanted a pizza. They got a little personal sized pizza for her. Like, everything's good. Just order it up, shows up. So I've been supporting my local restaurants, but I'm gaining weight doing so. So there's a trade-off. Okay. We're back up and running, and let me load up my Steam library, and let's go pull up a game. And I got to get my controller connected here too, so let's do that real quick. And so let me go to Devices, and we'll get the controller going. So what we're going to do with the controller here is just turn it on. I'll put it into pairing mode. Turn off the thing here. So now we're in pairing mode, and we should see the controller here show up on the list of available devices. I think it's this one. Yeah, there it is. And we're ready to go. Okay. Okay, we are up and running here. So let us start. Rocket League's getting an update, so let's see what we'll get that. We'll push that update through real quick. Not sure how big it is. Oh, it's 1.9 gigs. Wow, it's a big one. No problem for my connection because that we have gigabit now. Look how fast that comes down. Sometimes I'll get like a gigabit out of Steam. Not often, but it's getting there. So we got the first gig almost downloaded. And maybe while that's going, I'll go and do GTA 5 here to start. And yeah, I like to go through like the usual set of games that we always look at. So we'll get that going real quick, and we'll say yes to that. I will say it's pretty quiet. The fan is not noisy on this thing at all. And we've got another hello here from Dave Ramroop, a fan of Among Us. My daughter and I have been playing that. We were playing the other day, and I was the imposter, and I just spread like misinformation all over the place. Somebody called the meeting, and I said, it's the blue guy, it's the blue guy, and they all voted him out. And then I just kept doing it, and I just won. It's pretty crazy. I don't even think I killed anybody. It's a fun game. But you know what I think? I think Among Us is more fun with friends as opposed to strangers, because the chat, like I was playing it on the Xbox, part of Game Pass, and the chat just isn't very efficient. And people call like the emergency meetings all the time, so I guess you can tweak those settings, but And let's see if this is, here it goes. By the way, I've been using this this keyboard now. Here, check this out. I think you all saw me review this. This came in free of charge, by the way, from Lenovo a while back. And I just love this keyboard because it's like a ThinkPad keyboard, but it's got the little nub on there. It's pretty cool. All right, I got to do all these video adjustments here, so let me just do that real quick. This game, like, really, I think because we run it on a lot of different stuff, the settings are always out of whack on it when we boot it up. And what I'm going to do is our usual thing where we blow ourselves up and we go to the hospital. And then I drive around and see what kind of... oh, you know what I forgot to install? I forgot to install Fraps. So let me get the settings figured out on this real quick, and then we will carry on. Because like right now it's like at 800 by 600 or something. I think what it does, it must sync up my settings, because Jake was trying to get this to run on some really lousy PC we were looking at a while ago. All right, there we go, and refresh rate should be 60, and output monitor. And what I do is I put everything on like the lowest settings. I wonder if there's like a way to go back to default. Is there like a reset? Yeah, restore defaults. Let's do that. All right, and then, see, I'm not the one that usually does this stuff, so now I've got to remember how to do it. It looks like I must have been at that already. So I think people tell me to run it DirectX 11, right? And then 1920 by 1080. And then we'll say 60 hertz, output monitor 1. I'm going to turn all this stuff off. And I think we usually just turn all these down. Maybe let's keep them at the mid-range here. Let's just see if we can. So texture, let's say normal. Normal, normal, normal. Because we try to keep everything at the same settings, which means like just turning everything off that might, you know what I mean, just to get like a baseline. So I think that is what we do. All right, so I'm going to apply these changes, and then I have to restart the game. And like I said, Jake usually handles this stuff, so I've got to make sure I get it right here. And Mark H. has got a question which some of you already answered on whether or not they... Yeah, I think ASRock's got some. Shuttle has some that you can choose your CPU. And it's all a matter of form factor, I guess. But I really do like these little mini PCs. I've got more than I know what to do with, unfortunately. All right, so give me 1 second here. I got to load up Fraps so that we can get a good frame counter up on screen that we can see in the video. So what I'm doing right now is actually shooting B-roll for the video we will end up doing. So I need to go out to... haven't even installed Chrome on here yet, so I need to do that real quick. So we'll grab Fraps, Fraps is good, right, everybody? That's what I use. And we'll download Fraps real quick. You know, it's funny, I uninstalled this McAfee stuff, but it still keeps popping up. It must be like a web extension or something. And Redacted wants to know, is Rocket League still downloading? Looks like it is done. So we'll do that one next. All right, so Fraps is installed. And we'll hit yes here. You know what I'm going to do too before I go too much further is I'm going to copy Fraps over to the my drive so that I have it there. Okay. All right, we are good to go now. Fraps is running, and hopefully that should work when we pull it back up. By the way, you can see how many games I have and don't play. Look at all this stuff. I just buy them when they're cheap, and then I just don't play them. I'm a digital hoarder. Raul Gubert is here from Italy. Hello to you. All right, let's see what happens here. And what I'm going to do now also is set up a recording directory so that we can get some of this game footage captured. So this is the B-roll that we're going to use in the video that we'll do when we're done with this. All right, we'll hit the button here, and we'll go to story mode. So I get this question a lot, and this is whether or not this would be, I'm going to have to cover this in the video. The question is whether or not this is going to be good for a media server. And as always, it depends. I would not recommend this as a Plex server because it doesn't have quick sync that Plex uses for transcoding. So I would choose an Intel mini PC over an AMD one for that reason. All right, so what we do here, actually seems like it's running pretty decently. I'm going to grab my rocket launcher here and just go kablooey. And you know what's funny? GTA 5 is a really funny game in that the performance varies considerably depending on what you're doing. So what I like to do is try to test it in the same spot. So we're going to test it here, where we kind of drive around and see what does what here. So let's go pop into the car here. Now this is 1080p lowest settings, and I'm going to do a recording here. Make sure we don't. I want your car, buddy, but I'm not going to hurt you. All right, so here we go. So we're getting. This is about what I usually see out of these devices. We're getting about 48 to 50 frames per second, 1080p lowest settings. And not bad. And as you see, it'll vary a bit. You know, it depends on what's going on, what kind of traffic patterns there are, what the people are doing, because the CPU is doing stuff, the graphics are doing things. But for onboard graphics, yeah, this is good performance. Go down this way. Yeah, so I would say like 45 to 50 frames per second is about what you can expect. And then if we went down to 720p, you would definitely be around 60. Not bad. Whoop, sorry, buddy. Whoa. Tell you, these guys know how to make a game, don't they? They really do. Okay, so I'm going to just log this clip real quick. And we'll move on to the next one. So let's go to Asus PN50. And we'll say GTA 5. Okay, good stuff. Yeah, Andy G, definitely check out my unboxing video that we did the other day, because that'll answer all of your questions. And you can find that on the, if you click on my link in the video description, on the Amazon page for this, you'll see, you will see the video there as well. All right, so we got that one done. Let's do The Witcher 3 next. That's another one we like to run on here. From the development house that shall not be named these days, right, everybody? I owned the Cyberpunk for a little bit. It wasn't a bad experience on my Xbox Series X. Is that what I have? Yes, the Series X. But I was like, you know, I should have bought the PC version just because I have a PC. And it just didn't, you know, for me, like, I don't have a lot of time to play games anymore. So it's got to grab me, and it didn't grab me. It just felt like every other game I've played. You know what I mean? Like No Man's Sky, that kind of game grabs me. What else have I been playing? I will admit that I play Animal Crossing, partly because my daughter likes to play Animal Crossing, and it's something we can do together. So I like doing that. That's a fun game. I really do love the Switch. I'll tell you, I spend a lot of time on the Switch. My daughter and I were playing... what else did we play? We played Luigi's Mansion. That was a really fun game. All right, so we're going to set the graphics to low. And that's what we do all the time. But we're going to go to 1080p on low settings. All right, so we got that locked in. I think I just hit B here. Yep, there we go. It's going to rejigger the graphics. I'm good with that. And then we got to get through the thing here. All right. Bit says you can see a FPS counter on Steam. Yeah, there is one on Steam, but you know, like it's too tiny. So on the video, it doesn't really show up. So I like to have one on here. All right, so looks like it dropped me off. I just want to get those guys to come after me again. So we're on low settings 1080p, and you'll see that you're probably looking at about 30 frames per second here. It's running just under right now. That's about what I typically see out of these AMD Ryzens. And if we go to 720p, you'll get more, you know? So there you go. You know what I'm going to do to help out everybody in the chat? Give me 1 second here. I'm just going to log this clip. I am going to, on the YouTube side at least, I'm going to leave a pinned chat. This is running with the Ryzen 4800U and 16 gigabytes of RAM. And then I think I can pin comments, right? Am I able to do that? Yes, so look at that. So I will pin that one, and that way everyone knows what the specs are of this one. 91, Witcher 3. And what I'm also going to do is just update my notes here. So GTA 5, 45 to 50 FPS, Witcher 3, just under 30. And we'll say 1080p low, 1080p low. Okay, so we're making progress here. So we're going to move on to the next one. How do I get out of this game? Like I said, this is what Jake is usually doing for me, so I have to remember how to get out of these games here. So I hit, there we go. oops, quit the main menu, exit. Yes, okay. And I have a request for Star Wars Squadron. So you know what? We'll run that one. I got to update it real quick. So we'll get that going. It's kind of like, it's fun when I do these streams. It's like going to your friend's house. What games do they have? When I was a kid, you know, like you would go to your buddy's house, and we all had different games for our Ataris and our ColecoVisions. And I think I've told this before. My parents would buy, like my parents would call each other and strategically see what games the other parent had so that you could lend games to people. Because the games, you know, like today, they were expensive and they were physical on a cartridge. So it made sense for everyone to buy different games in the circle of friends so that we could make a more efficient use of the games. So, so you go to your friend's house and you'd have the same system but totally different games. It was always fun. So Daniel Barry said that Squadrons is the only hyper-threaded game in the lineup. So why don't we boot it up now? It looks like the update came down already. So let's take a look at that. I've been playing this entirely in VR. This is the first time that I am booting it up in 2D mode. And I have not had time to play it as often as I'd like. And I think I must have it, like, for the single player thing, I have it set to like the easy mode. Because I am like destroying the entire empire myself. Like I'm so good at it, and I know I'm not that good at this game. So there's got to be some like easy mode setting. There you go. Jeffrey here says that he misses ColecoVision. Yeah, I miss ColecoVision a lot, but through the magic of the field programmable gate array processor on my Mister, look at my Mister videos. I have the ability to play cycle accurate ColecoVision games on my big screen TV. The one thing that I haven't gotten to work, I have an old Coleco controller that hasn't been working properly. I think I have one behind me. I did have one back there. It's not there now. So the controls are a little different because I'm using a modern controller with it, but it's cycle accurate. It looks great. So request for Fortnite also. I'll try to get to Fortnite in a little bit too. All right. And I got to go adjust some settings here because we're running, the menu is running at 17 frames per second. So we got to tamp down the video options here. So let's see what we've got. All right. Graphics quality is on auto, which is, it looks like it's got everything set to low here. So maybe we're okay. Let's see what happens when we get into the game itself. It might just be that the menu is a little slow. So we'll do a quick match here. Oh, I don't want to play with anybody. Let me, hang on a second. I can do backspace to cancel. I just want to do like a single player, training, practice. Here we go. So that's why I'm so good at this game. I have it in story mode difficulty. That's why I'm so good at it in VR. And I've got like upstairs, I got the HOTAS set up with the throttle and the stick. That's how you have to play this game like that because I'm having such a hard time with the regular controller controlling it. Oh, no worries there, Daniel Barry. And Andy G took a look at the teardown video. Excellent. I do have the Dolphin emulator, Andy G. I might try to. I'm not sure I'm going to get to it today, but I'll probably do it in the full review. Let me add that to my list of things to do. We'll see how far we get here. Let's go and fly my space fighter. I can't tell you how awesome this is in VR. And the only thing that makes it like not as awesome as it could be is the fact that like I really want them to come up with some DLC where you can fly like the original missions, because that would be awesome. All right, so here we go. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, so you're controlling like your throttle with one stick and then doing this stuff on the other one. I'm like so confused. That's why like the HOTAS setup makes a lot more sense. But check it out. We're getting like 50 frames per second. Now I think I can summon. How do I do this here? Yeah, let's deploy a squadron of TIE fighters here. And let me go do some recording here. This is totally playable. And we're, 1080p low settings. But what's great about these space games is that you don't need a spectacular performing system to get playable performance, because there's not as many, the graphics, believe it or not, are not as complex, right? So, and granted, like some of the cockpit detail isn't all here, but it's certainly playable. And we'll get in a little closer to some of this stuff here and kind of fly around. Yeah, so this is like 40, 45, right? Oh, this is why I went to Tashi Station too often to get my power converters, as opposed to flight training in my, what was that thing that Luke flew, the T something or other? So there you go. That is Star Wars Squadrons. We have a lot of games in this video here. And it's going to vary, right? I mean, if you've got more of the larger ships, you might see some of that there. All right. I'm just going through all the comments here. Ed E is here from Ohio. Welcome. And yeah, we're just putting this little computer here through its paces. Ooh, check this one out, everybody. William used to go to a friend's house who had a Neo Geo. Yeah, that thing was super expensive. The games were $200 a piece back in 1990. So just do the math on the inflation alone on that. And that's another thing. If you've got the Mister, and I've done videos on this, somebody created a cycle-accurate Neo Geo. They took, you know what they did to do that? They took apart the chip, like they burned the acid off the ceramic casing on it, and then they manually mapped visually with a microscope all of the circuits in the chip, and they recreated it in an FPGA, and it's cycle perfect. It's amazing. So you got to check the Mister out. And I've done a lot of videos on it. I'll probably do some more stuff on it soon as well. Ed E got an RTX 3070 and loves it. I bet you are. It's a great thing. Gorman wants to know, did the FPGA? Yes, I believe it has. That Coleco FPGA console is available. So that's another option. What I like about the Mister, though, is I've got a lot of different things that I can run on it. So that's why I like the Mister. But yeah, that did come out. I never did get one. All right. We did have a request for Fortnite, which I think is probably something we should run. So let me grab the Epic Games launcher thing here and get that going. So bear with me for a second here on that. I will say it is so nice to have this faster. I mean, you've heard me talk about this over and over again, but the connection is so much better now here. Ugh. I mean, first of all, the live streams work, which is something that never worked well. But it is just so, it's nice to have the stability of the connection that I have now and the speed of it, those two things. And like, for example, right now, I think my wife's on a conference call at the moment, one of those video calls, and the kids are watching their YouTube, and we got plenty of bandwidth. Enough for everybody. So it's working great. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, how many are watching right now? We've got 178 or so, 180. If you don't mind, click over to the Amazon link and give me a follow over there. So I'm trying to build up my Amazon following. So I'm going to start doing some stuff exclusively on Amazon there. Red Hornet says hello to everybody. So Metro North Railfan has a suggestion on GTA 5, setting the VSync setting to half, and then you get a constant 30. Yeah, what I look for when I'm doing these tests is the maximum frame rate. Like, what can we push the hardware to? But you're right, if you wanted to have a consistent 30 FPS, that's one way to get yourself there. But what we'd like to see is like, what is it capable of? What can we push it to do to get to that maximum frame rate? And it's good because then we can compare it. Like, is this doing better or worse than other AMD chips? And actually, to my surprise, to be honest with you, I was expecting that this would do a little better than the laptops, and it is like slightly better than the laptops, but not, not completely better, if that makes sense. Give me 1 second, folks. I just got to find my password for Epic Games. And I have like a whole nother library on Epic Games that I'm not playing games on either, because they have all the free games on there, and some of the freebies have been pretty good on Epic. So if you haven't downloaded their thing, and I know there's like a lot of controversy over Epic and how they're doing the exclusives, and initially I was like, I'm so annoyed over this, but you know what? I mean, it's on the PC. It's not like I have to go buy some other hardware to make it work. So what I'm doing now is I use multi-factor authentication on everything. So I am typing in my 2-factor password. I have a child screaming upstairs about something, but my wife is up there with them, so I think I'm okay. Ooh, free now, Star Wars Battlefront 2. I think I own that game already, so I probably don't need to download it again. So I have it on, well, you know what? I have that one on the EA Origin, so I might as well just get it here, right? Because then I don't have to load Origin up every time I want to play it. So let me just do that real quick. Wow, it's like totally free. Look at this. Can you believe that? Look at this. Free. Free for the taking. Just hit get and it's yours. Okay? I will do that. And then we'll put your price, 0. Okay, now it's mine. Good. Don't you love this stuff? Travis is jealous of my fiber connection. I used to be jealous of people with fiber connections also. Yeah, Joe, yes, I have had, it is definitely pretty warm, even at idle, absolutely. And I started off the video or the stream today with my results from the stress test on it, and it didn't pass. It got a 90%. So it definitely runs hot, and I wonder if there's and I looked around to see if there was software to control the active cooling, because I would, if you want better performance, deal with the fan noise, but I haven't found anything. So it's definitely struggling a bit on the thermals. Recipe Bob says this makes you appreciate Jake. Absolutely, it does. I mean, it's a good excuse to have a live stream, right? But yeah, it's so what's good is about Jake is that when he comes by and picks, because right now we're working distanced from each other until this pandemic ends, whenever that's going to be. He comes by and picks up the computer, does all his tests, he brings it back with the footage, and then I can shoot it, right? It's a lot faster. But right now he's out of town and he's not picking stuff up, so I gotta do all this stuff. But it's good though, because it's good for me to do this every once in a while to make sure I'm doing things right and making sure that the instructions I've given to him are correct. So that is good there. Redacted said Amazon Germany. No, I think I'm just on the US one, and it might be, I have this, they have this new feature on Amazon where if you're out of the country or on a VPN or whatever, it will automatically direct you to the native country of that link. So if you're getting me outside the US, you may need to go to my Amazon shop at Lon.TV/Amazon. Actually, go to Lon.TV/Amazon Live. That'll take you directly in, I think. Gorman is talking about Mister, likes to use original cartridges. Yeah, the analog ones are good for the originals. I was playing a little Sonic CD with my daughter on Sunday, and we were doing that on the analog console. Got a super chat here from Carol. Thank you very much. Good to see you again, Carol. Hope you are well. Wants to know how this might compare to the MacBook with the M1. The hard part is that I can't run the 3D Mark benchmarks on the M1 just yet, and that includes the new Wildlife benchmark, which I was hoping to run on here. I should check and see if it's available. That might be a good way to test it out. I would say the M1 is probably quicker, GPU-wise, than these AMD chips. It's probably up there with Ice Lake or beyond Ice Lake. Let's see if Wildlife is available here. I don't think it is yet. That's a new benchmark. It's called the Wildlife Benchmark. It's from 3D Mark. I'm just searching for it right now. Yeah, it's not there. It's multi. Oh, it is here. It's on the. Let's run that real quick. We're going to run it real quick. Now, here's a little caveat here. So this is on the Mac now. This Mac is going to run the iPad version of Wildlife. So I don't know if this will be a valid result or not. But let's see. I'm going to run it in unlimited mode. So we'll get an idea here. So let's run this, and then we'll run it on the other one too. Why not? And the graphics are going to be totally out of whack on here, so just ignore what you see. But let's do that real quick, and then we'll do Fortnite. So let me go back to 3D Mark on the other one here. And then we can do an apples to apples on this. Or close to an apples to apples. Oops. I'm assuming it's running right now. There it goes. Okay, so that's running. So now what I'll do on the PC here, I'll switch over to the PC. We're going to run that same benchmark, the Wildlife benchmark, on this thing. Okay. So we just got a result already, but let me go and run it on benchmarks, and we're going to go look for Wildlife. Here it is. Now, what's neat about this new Wildlife benchmark is that it works across platforms, so you can really do a comparison between one machine versus another. And I'm going to run it exactly the same way we ran it on the MacBook M1 here. And the M1 Mac is running with the iPad version. So this is not an OS X native app. It's running the iPad version, although the code base is the same because it's based on those ARM chips. So this may not be totally valid yet for the Mac, but let's see what we got here anyhow. So, and we're going to let it just do its thing here on the AMD. And let's pull up the Wildlife benchmark on my spreadsheet, which you can find at Lon.TV/benchmarks. And let's cut over. Yeah, so the Wildlife benchmark is a little, actually no, it's legit. It's legit. Okay, here, let me pop over here. So what you see here, all right, so my iPad Pro 11 did 11,969. This one, this is the MacBook Air with the M1. I'm glad you asked that, Carol, because I hadn't. This benchmark wasn't available when I reviewed the MacBook Air. Okay, so we got 18,030 and an average frame rate of 107 FPS. Wow! So I just got the result. It's like the results are in. What do you? All right, let's take a quick guess here, and I'll leave the chat open. Steve Roach is here on Amazon. Hello. I am going to leave the chat open real quick, and I would love to get from you some predictions as to what you think the result on the Ryzen 4800U is with the same benchmark. So I will leave it here. So we have a score, and let's do either the score or the FPS. So the MacBook M1, the MacBook Air with the M1, and I have the 8-core GPU version, 107 FPS, 18,030. What do you think the Ryzen got? Let's see what we get. And while I'm waiting, some of you are asking about the credentials. Yeah, I guess you need to have a US credential to follow me on the Amazon one. So Mark Dell says 7. 7 FPS or 7,000? So Carol says 60. Mark says 8. Let's see who's right here. I'm just going to pull down my results. Where does it give me the FPS on this one? Okay, I got it here. 51 from Gormand. MJ Drama says 70. Mark is a bad guesser. Well, Mark Dell's doing the Price is Right, the Price is Right thing, which is like you do the lowest number in the hopes that you're close. And while I'm waiting for some of these to come in, on Amazon, Disappointed wants to know, which Apple Watch do I have? I have the Series 6, and I like it quite a bit. I had the Series 4, and it doesn't feel much faster than the 4. But I bought it because this adds the pulse ox tester, which has gotten a lot better. So that's why I went with it. So basically with the Apple Watch, when they come up with a new health sensor, I get a new one. That's been my, my philosophy with it. And it's cool. It'll check your pulse ox randomly, but you have to be like still when it does it. So it doesn't always, so like for example, the last pulse ox I got was like 20 hours ago. So I don't sit still apparently, which is probably good that I don't sit still. Okay, so I got some, you know, you all were pretty good here. So here's some of the, here, I'll just pull up my vMix social thing. 7895, 7700, you're all pretty close. So the result that we got was 7,153. And that puts this, you know, it's funny, I have never run this on a Ryzen machine before. I thought we had, but apparently I have not. I could have sworn we did this. I guess not. So what we got was 7,153 and about 42.84 FPS. So no slouch, no slouch, but it's not, so let me just fill in the rest of it here. So it's like right below that of A. And this is the Ryzen 4800U. And we got a score of 7,153 or 42.84 FPS. So there you go. So the MacBook, God, isn't that crazy? And oops, and this is the MacBook M1 Air with no active cooler on it. That is nuts. So it's better than the Tiger. This is the Ice Lake, right? It's 1165, faster than that. And this is where our Ryzen came in. Granted, it's one benchmark, but still, that's pretty crazy. And this is running the iPad version of Wildlife. That is nuts. Pretty cool. Give me 1 second here, folks. I just got to send a text to somebody. Got a phone call a minute ago there. Okay. Oh, okay, so we got that going. Let's go grab Fortnite real quick and do that one. But that was surprising. I was really surprised by that M1 result. That's pretty good, folks, isn't it? All right. Mark Watson says that there is a new update to the NVIDIA Shield today. I got to check that out. Now supports oh, cool. PS5 and Xbox Series XS controllers. That's a nice update. So maybe some folks here can help Iric out, who's looking at the PN50 or the Intel NUC with an 8259U. I would say for what you're looking to do, the PN50 with the 4500U will be better than this. Well, I'm sorry, yeah, this one will be better with the 4500U than you would get out of that Intel NUC with that particular i5. Mark Dell is telling me that his Apple Watch is shaming him on his hand washing hygiene. better get with the program there, mister. It's funny. I think I turned off the hand washing thing. Travis says, price is right, I went over. Yeah, that's right. Does it have dual HDMI? No, it doesn't. It has DisplayPort, HDMI, and a USB Type-C output, so you can get it out that way. So you could get another HDMI if you have an adapter, a USB-C to HDMI thing. All right, let me go grab Fortnite here and install that real quick. The one thing I like about Steam is that I can make my games portable, so I usually install all of my games on a external drive, and then you just point Steam at it. I don't think Epic lets you do that. If I am incorrect about that, let me know. So Mark Dell, you are a 21st century citizen. Fell off his Segway and broke his arm and had to stop my watch from calling the emergency services. That's awesome. So it knew that you had. But could you imagine, like I think if you're going to injure yourself in 2021, that is how you do it. You fall off your Segway, you break your arm, and then your watch calls the ambulance on your behalf. That is how it's done. I like that. And it's not letting me install Fortnite in that location, so I'm going to throw it on my D drive. A little permissions error there. Let's try that again. Okay, now it's installing. There we go. And if you want to see how fast my connection is, check it out. And what's been really interesting about having this gigabit connection is rarely do things hit the maximum that they could. So right now, so for example, like this device just has a gigabit Ethernet adapter on it. But if we were getting the full performance out of it, we would be seeing download speeds of about 100 megabytes per second, give or take, just in that ballpark. Now it's getting there. So now we're hauling. So now you can see we're hitting the maximum of what the Ethernet can do on this one. We're downloading at 108, 110 megabytes per second. And the fan's going nuts on it because I think it's trying to keep up with its decompression while it's going here. Now my connection downstream is actually 2 gigabits, but this is only gigabit Ethernet. So you can see how when you upgrade to multi-gigabit, you've got a lot of work to do to maximize the connection. But what's great about what you're seeing at this very moment is that if on this Mac, if I were to do something differently on another site, I could pull another gigabit at the same time that this one's pulling a gigabit. Isn't that cool? So let's grab the rest of this game here. It's a big file, 30 gigabytes. Fortnite is 30 gigabytes? That is crazy. Zach M wants to know, how long did I have to wait on the back order? So this one is on loan from Asus. So they let me borrow this one. So when I'm done with my review, it goes back to them. So I didn't have to wait at all for it. And we're just waiting for Fortnite to install here. Redacted, I'm probably not going to get to the IR port, but I am going to look into it because I'm curious as to what you would do with it. I haven't seen that on there. And I want to make sure I'm missing anybody here. Yeah, we're good. Smoke Monster says, I thought Smoke Monster is here, by the way, everybody. If you want to know anything about the Mister, he's your guy. But I also I thought you had one of those super fast fiber connections there, Smoke. Didn't you have like gigabit at your place? I can't remember. So I think you were like streaming out at 4K one night. And Io says that my background is giving him a nostalgic vibe. You know what's funny about the background is I get a lot of opinions about my background. And some people love it, other people hate it. And for me, it was the natural thing to do because I had all this stuff sitting in my basement. This is all stuff, like my stuff from when I was a kid. And I wanted to find a place to put it all. And it made sense when I started the channel to have it be my backdrop. I have no interior design skills or any artistic skills whatsoever. So I found that men and women of a certain age love it, and the younger kids hate it. And I do hear from people like, why don't you make yourself look like all the other channels? And I'm like, I think part of what makes a channel work is that it looks different than other channels. And not to criticize what other people do. I think people can make their channel look any way they want. But I really prefer to be different. And I got to do some lighting changes. I do have another light. I'm going to backlight me, and I'm going to move this camera back and do a little more bokeh. I got some things I want to do. I just haven't had time to get to that yet. Mark Dell says, I need a smoke machine. You know who has a smoke machine? Smoke Monster. He's got an awesome smoke machine. Oh, so Smoke Monster's got 1 gig down, but only 27 up. Is that? I think it's fiber too, Smoke Monster, isn't it? Usually they do symmetrical on that stuff. It's weird how like ISPs offer all sorts of different things. But yeah, I like this backdrop. I think it's good. You know what it is? What I like about it is that it's mine. All that stuff back there is all my stuff. So the one thing that I'm just looking back here. I mean, there's a few like newer things that came into play there, but like that Sega Genesis is my original. That Timex Sinclair 1000 right there. You guys know that as a ZX something or other in UK. But that was my first computer. It was literally my first computer. I've got, here, I'll pull the thing off here. I've got my original ColecoVision games there. So Zaxxon, that was like one of my favorite ColecoVision games. I've got some of my old Apple II software. That disc there is Skyfox, which was like a fighter plane game on the Apple II. I mean, it's all stuff that I legit owned. You can't see it, but I've got my old modem I ran my BBS on down there. I've got my 32X cartridges, all sorts of good stuff. This is all mine. That 2GS was mine. When I first got on BBSs, I was using that machine to go on the bulletin board systems. And then that Mac SE30, I did buy that after the fact. That's a newer edition. But yeah, Mark Dell, those are our two 32X games there. I've got Space Harrier and Afterburner. And I bought the 32X when they like liquidated it. I was at Toys R Us. I was in college. It was my junior year of college. And Toys R Us had stacks of 32Xs and you could see the price kept dropping. And I went into the store one day and it was like $29 for the 32X. The games were dirt cheap, so I just bought I bought those 2 games and the 32X for like maybe 60 or 70 bucks. This is granted 20 years ago, so the value of the money was more, but it was still pretty cheap. And so I bought those 2. And then I was at every year at Christmas time, my family would go on a trip to Florida, and we would visit my grandparents. And the year that we went down that year, when I have weird memories about buying video games for some reason, but it was a funny story. So we went down to see my grandparents, and their health was not good at that point. So instead of staying at their place like we usually did, we stayed at a hotel. The hotel was attached to a mall. This was called the Fashion Mall in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It had a big flood from a hurricane and it's been knocked down or whatever. But nice hotel linked right up with the mall. And they had an electronics boutique store, which became EB Games, which became GameStop. And they were closing the store. So they were having like a going out of business sale. And I loaded up on a whole bunch of stuff. So I got a couple more 32X games for like $5 a piece, brand new. It was like dirt cheap. And then the guy was checking me out, not checking me out, but he was checking me out at the register. And this lady comes in with a return of some PlayStation game. It was Viewpoint on the PlayStation. And the guy at the counter, he's like, we're going out of business. He just threw it in my bag. So I got a whole bunch of stuff that day. That was a lot of fun. I still have all those games. They're all upstairs. So now I've got the flash cartridges. So I don't need to use the real cartridges anymore. So I just run them off my flash thing. Yeah, the 32X I think could have been something. I think it was more powerful than the 3DO, if I'm not mistaken, but it just was too complex. Oh, so Metro North Railroad fan. I miss going on Metro North. Got the HP laptop with their 3250U, upgraded the RAM. Yeah, it works great. Those are great systems. You know, you can run it at 720p. They're very inexpensive. Acer has one for $300 and change. For my affiliate links, like that Acer with that same processor sells a lot. People like that laptop. Put the RAM in and you're good. And Smoke Monster said they're maxing him out on his internet connection. This is what's funny is I would have settled for 100 up. You know, like for me, like my only option. This was what's crazy. My option was I could stay on my 12 megabit per second upstream, which never worked, or I could put this fiber thing in, and it's 2,000, 2,000. And then that's on one leg, because I have a second leg that's also another symmetrical gigabit off of an Ethernet port. So it's like, it's crazy. All right, Fortnite is installed. We got to start doing some lightning round stuff here, because I got to get off of this stream, because my tacos will be here soon. And I've got to call somebody back, and then I've got a conference call. And my wife has a conference call at 6, which means that I technically have one at 6 also. Smoke Monster made a 32X game. I want to know about this. So you know what I rented once? So Smoke Monster is talking about renting a 32X. I rented the, what did I run? I rented a Nintendo, what was it? The Virtual Boy. I rented that once. That was crazy. All right, we got Fortnite loading up here. I haven't played Fortnite in a while. So let's see how it does. And if I'm not mistaken, we might have some graphical issues. But let me see. Okay, so we're going to do Battle Royale here, and then I'll adjust the graphics on this in a second. And in case you're wondering, this is the... what is going on here? This is like a whole movie that's playing here. So Smoke Monster has a link to his 32X game. Let me take a look at this real quick. Smoke Monster Afterlife RPG. I gotta check this out. That is cool. He made it himself. That is awesome. I gotta check that out later. All right, how do we get through all this? I don't want to watch this. Okay. Season 5 Battle Pass. No one is escaping the loop. I'll tell you what, these guys print money, don't they? So let's go and get my settings here. So I think I like to run it full screen, 1080p. I have no frame rate limits. And I want to adjust, let's do, I gotta be careful here because if we adjust it incorrectly, it doesn't run it at that resolution. So we want, is the size of the window, okay. I'm gonna run it medium. I'm just curious to see what we get on medium. All right. Although it doesn't look like it's running at 1080p anymore. All right, so let's go jump into a quick game here. Yeah, something's not right on the, because I know it like does like that downscaling. It's definitely running at a lower resolution here, so let me just double check this. Oh, there we go. 3D resolution, I want to turn that up to 1080. Okay, 100%. There we go. Okay. So I want to just be native 1080 here across the board. Okay, so that looks better. So let's go and play a quick match here. So Mario says, an M1 Mac Mini or the PN50? That's a good question. I will say this, that the Mac Mini, what am I waiting on here? Scheduled downtime. The Mac Mini is incredibly quick, because you saw what we just got on a benchmark from this MacBook Air. So, it's all a matter of what you want to do. I mean, if you are playing games, you're probably going to be better off on, let me start recording here in a minute. You're probably going to be better off playing games on this because there's more games available for it. And as you can see, they don't run that poorly. I mean, they're pretty, well, it's getting a little laggy here as it's loading in. I don't know if it's just loading textures in that's causing it to do that. Let's record some B-roll here. Oh, we haven't actually started the game yet. No wonder why I was doing that. Okay, so then we're going to wait for the doors to open. But I got to tell you, like, I am totally blown away by the performance that I'm seeing out of my MacBook Air. And I'm using it like, I mean, it's become my daily driver. I was anticipating having it just live down here to replace the little 12-inch MacBook that I was using. But yeah, by the way, in fairness, this is running at medium settings. I wanted to kind of push it a little bit. So I might turn it down to low, but have it render out at 1080p. There was a time, I've never been good at Fortnite, but there was a time when I was playing a lot of it on the Switch in particular. So I have not jumped into this in a long time. So it looks a lot different than it did before. I just love the chutzpah these guys have. Like remember they took the game down for like a week or 4 days and had that like black hole running. All right, I better start recording here. All right, so this is at medium settings, 1080p. And to be honest, it's not bad, right? I mean, it's running about 60-ish. I mean, that's pretty good, right, folks? And if we went to low, we could certainly get there. I'm just waiting for somebody to kill me. All right, I think I've seen enough here. Let's just double check those settings. Yeah, we're on medium. So I'm going to update that real quick. Fortnite. Medium, 1080p, 50, 55. And that's at 3D resolution, 100%. Okay, so updating my notes on that. So yeah, I'm going to be a real jerk here and leave this game because I got to get moving in a minute here. So we're going to leave the match. But not bad. Mark Dell says, expect to see some pro moves. The only pro moves I make are accidental. And Creighton wanted to thank me for signing up for YouTube Premium. Yeah, if it, for a lot of folks like me, and if you consume a lot of YouTube, I think YouTube Premium is worth it. And like, what I like about YouTube is you have the choice. You can, if you don't want the ads and you get a lot of value out of the platform, then it's probably worth it to look to consider running YouTube Premium. All right, I got time for one more thing, and then I got a jet, folks. So let's go back to the library here. I always like to look at Doom. I did get the new one, but I always like to run the 2016 version, just to get a comparative. Mark Dell did Premium to avoid all the election ads. Yeah, I did not see a single one. Although I had logged in occasionally when I do my testing, I log in on a a non-logged in YouTube account, and the election ads were quite extensive this year. But it's a sign of a healthy media platform, because if political ads are the people that buy political ads are very smart, and when they buy the ads, they know there's viewers, and that means it's a very healthy medium. And a healthy medium is good for me, because if I'm on a platform that's doing well, it's the high tide. Okay, let's jump into Doom real quick, and then I got a jet, because my tacos are going to be here soon. And Redacted's been using premium since it was red. Yeah, I am still grandfathered in on the $10 plan, and I am quite happy with it. And I think I'm missing some chats here. Okay. It looks like my tacos are on the way already. Excellent. The guy's driving here, so I got to get out of here in a second. So let's do a quick little arcade mode, and then we will. Oops, I didn't do that. Let's go arcade mode. And I will set the settings on this in a second. And Mark, yeah, something. Mark says every time I mention I'm going to be eating soon, it's always tacos, because I think that's all I've been eating lately. We either make tacos or order them, just because it's so easy. We're at this point where we're just going out of our mind, kind of being stuck here. A lot more questions. I got to really cover this in the review, because I'm getting a lot of questions on Plex. It cannot. It doesn't transcode on Linux or Windows, because it just doesn't have the quick sync that I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure that has not changed. And let me just make sure the settings are good on here. Video. All right, so we're at 1080. And then I usually do, I got to switch it to Vulkan here. Hang on. So let's switch to Vulkan, and then we'll leave it low. Okay, so let me escape. Yes, and then we're going to probably have to restart. Yeah. Give that a second there, and we will jump back in. Well, it's funny, Mark Dell. I don't have a Taco Bell near me. In fact, I used to have one that was in this convenience store called Dairy Mart, not too far from me. I used to go there all the time, and then they clogged up their septic system, and the health department shut them down. Zap Brannigan on Amazon says that my background represents my channel very well. My only suggestion is to move your YouTube award more into the forefront to show it off. I should move it around a little bit. I'll wait till I get the next one. I'm only about 700,000 subscribers away from my gold one. All right, so let's do this, and we'll go to the UAC. All right, so now we're going to do Doom in arcade mode, 1080p, low settings. Oops, all right, space to continue, and start run. Not bad, about 30, 40 or so. And again, with this game and many others, you bump it into 720p, you got 60 frames per second. So, about 35 to 40. Put it at 1080p or 720p, you get 60. So it's consistent with other AMD Ryzens we've looked at here on the channel. So not bad. All right. So there you go, folks. Not bad at all. All right. Well, I got a jet here because the other problem we have when we order tacos from the taco place is that they always can't find my house. So I know my phone's going to be ringing soon for that. So I'm going to go notify my wife to be on the lookout for the taco guy. I'm going to return the phone call that I got to make. And yeah, that's about it. So thank you all for joining me. I apologize for not taking more questions, but I will be back tomorrow. because I got in. I'm going to set your notifications because I subscribe to this thing from the video game history people, the Video Game History Foundation. And Smoke Monster, if you want to join me on this, you might enjoy this. They send out, so you can subscribe to their magazine collection, and they mail you some extra magazines from their collection every month from the 80s and 90s. These are gaming magazines. And you don't know what you're going to get. It's a blind bag. So I have the envelope. I have not opened it, so we're going to open it on the stream and look at the magazine. Give it a shot. See what happens. So that's the plan. All right. Well, everybody, I have to depart. But I will be back again tomorrow, probably around the same time. So again, set your notifications. If you're on Amazon, click that follow button, and you'll get a notification there as well. And I want to thank Carol for your super chat contribution. And tune in tomorrow, why don't you? It'll be kind of fun. All right, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. And thanks for the moderation help, Mark Dell and Smoke Monster. And I think those are the only two moderators on at the moment. So if I missed anybody, I apologize for that. And we'll catch you tomorrow. Okay, everybody? See you in a little bit. Bye-bye.